Hi everyone, how we all doing? Hope you're well this fine Sunday. We thought we'd go to the effort of coming down to the greatest football stadium in the world. Yeah?
Yes.
To preview Celtic against Dundee United, or Dundee United against Celtic tomorrow night. It is Celtic Park. You might be kind of struggling to see a little bit because it's really bright. Basically we had the choice of them either seeing Celtic Park or us. I'm now having doubts what was the right choice there.
I don't think anyone ever wants to see me, Hamish.
Nah.
But hello anyway, hi.
This is Stevie. He's been on the channel a fair bit. But Stevie, anything you want to start off with food-wise? I know you want to get right into it.
I haven't had anything to eat because I met Hamish a wee bit later than scheduled today. All I can say is I'm going to get a Taco Bell after this. I've had nothing whatsoever. I'm not hungry. I am starving. I had to do it.
Absolutely rehearsed.
But nothing else has been.
Yeah. Last time we had a big chat about food. I'm not really in that kind of mood today, so I think we'll get right on to the football. That's what folk care about. Tomorrow night, Dundee United versus Celtic, quarter-final of the Scottish Cup. We're going to chat about the game, we're going to chat about the team we want to see fielded, we're going to look at past meetings between Dundee United and Celtic, both this season and in your kind of era in the Scottish Cup.
Bye.
How are you feeling generally about this game? For me, I mean, I've spoken about it a bit in the channel. It almost feels like a little bit of a kind of reprieve from the real tense action in the league.
It's still going to be a nerve-wracking encounter though, every game is now with Celtic. But yeah, I mean, it's good not to focus on being 3 points ahead even, or what will happen with the goal difference. It's just going to be an old-fashioned cup battle again. Yeah. And that's what I love. It's going to be a good game. I think Dundee United will be up for it. More importantly, I think we'll be up for it. Players and the manager seem really focused, going by the press conference the other day with Ange and Joe Hart. And I just think the fans are up for it too. It's a chance to get into the semis, get to Hampden again, and win another trophy. Yeah. Well, I mean, alright, we've all been talking about the league, haven't we? We've not been talking about the treble. I think generally we've been quite down low about it. But if we can get to Hampden, that's when it starts getting into overdrive and you start to dream, don't you? And it's a good feeling when you get to that stage. And especially given our record at Hampden,
it's
been great.
You're quite confident at Celtic going to Hampden. It's almost as if once we get to Hampden, that's kind of the hard bit of the competition done in a weird way. I think tomorrow night's going to be a really tough game at Tannadice. We'll go back to the press conference then, because you're right, GigPod were invited against Celtic's better judgment. The big dog of GigPod, John Reid, went along. I'm assuming you've heard the stuff and seen the stuff. What was the overall?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just in a huff, you didn't want to hear any of it. Reidzo got his question to the manager and to Joe Hart as well. What were the big takeaways for you from that press conference from both of them?
I think it was the key word was resilience. Now Reidzo was key. Reidzo was keen to find out when the Celtic team suffer setbacks, when they go behind or when things don't go their way, what's their mentality like. Now we've seen it as fans, but I think he wanted to hear more from the manager and the players and what the general attitude is. Yeah. Seems like they're a real positive group. Seems like they've got a real strong mentality running all the way through that squad, from Joe Hart at the back all the way up front to like Baid in that. The entire team just seems as if they've bought right into the manager's sort of philosophy now. They've really, I mean, when I have to say, I was on this channel, do you remember, against Dundee United, when I said I thought at the time we were mentally weak.
Was that the first game?
One game.
Yeah.
Now I said when we were recording in Babbity Bowster that I felt this Celtic team were mentally weak. Didn't feel as if that whenever another team equalised against us, we looked as if the heads were down. You fast forward to now, like when another team like Dundee United, when we went down to 10 men at Celtic Park, we still kept going for it. It's a totally different beast now, this Celtic squad, and they just look really hungry and motivated. And the manager was really keen to stress that no matter what happens, whether it's so many players out through injury, suspension, when we miss a penalty like during the week and we miss a sitter, they're always keen to keep going, and they don't let anything sort of get them down. And I think that's what you saw against Livingston certainly last Sunday. Yeah. So that was the main thing that I took away from that. The other part was Reidzo was asked Joe Hart just about his relationship with the defence in front of him. I mean, literally the best defence in Scotland. And Joe Hart was, not only did he talk about CCV and Starfelt, but he was also talking about the guys that aren't there, like Chris Julian, saying that they'll all get a really strong. He did. They've all got a real strong relationship, and it just seems like the squad, there's a real harmony amongst all that team. And when you've got a squad that are like that on and off the pitch, it seems it only breeds success, I think, Hamish.
Yeah, not a huge fan of the nicknames that we're getting branded. We have Greggy,
yeah,
and Bull. From Ange, for everyone knows it's the Bull. But no, the point you're making about the setbacks impacting Celtic at the start of the season, that was the case. I think that was just the kind of mental scar tissue of last season when whenever we conceded a goal last season, we went and conceded another one a few minutes later. Whenever things were going well in a game and a player, usually near Beaton, got himself sent off, it seemed to impact us badly. But I think you're spot on now. It's a totally different reaction. It's almost like when things go wrong, sometimes they almost like focus the minds of this Celtic team. So like when we get a red card, it's no coincidence that the two of the red cards we've had recently, we've gone on to win the game from drawn positions. That's no coincidence. It's almost as if the team, when they get a setback, they kind of realise, right, we need to be right on it. And I think they had been coasting for a fair few months of this season. Celtic, obviously, here against Rangers and at Fir Park, we were brilliant those games. But kind of from that point, we were coasting. Last Sunday at Livingston, which seems like ages ago now, there was real signs, I think, that we're getting back to it. Do you think we're going to see a continuation of that tomorrow, given that we've had a week off? And we don't get midweeks off.
I think we're going to. Yeah, I think that fact. Obviously, we would have loved a European run. We all know that, but I think we'll take the positives out the negatives in this respect. Yes, we're out of the competition. It was disappointing, but the manager's going to have more time to now focus on dealing with the players on the pitch and maybe improving. I mean, look at what happened against the last. We started seeing a real change in this Celtic team. Remember the international break in October? Yeah. Remember when the manager was able to then start working with the players more?
There was a couple of games after that, the one at Fir Park and the Ferencváros game, where the team looked so much more organised defensively. Yeah. And I think after the winter break as well, we've seen that as well. That's
what I was on about, the Motherwell game specifically. The manager was saying he didn't have a lot of time from when he came in the summer to that first international break, and he started working with the players that weren't on international duty, and you saw such an improvement. So I think this week the manager will be sort of in with the players again, sort of just focusing them on the challenges lying ahead. I think we're going to see a Celtic team that are very hungry on Monday night.
Hope you're right. Will we do our line-up then? Because I think for not the first time, but certainly, it's been unusual this season. I feel like a lot of games the team has just picked itself, whereas I feel for this game, like I was doing the team earlier. I know you weren't because you're incredibly lazy, but it just, there was so many positions where I was going, do I play him? Well, that's harsh on him. You can't leave him out, and that's what you want.
Well, after last week, I mean, I was puzzled at some of the inclusions in the team, and now it shut me up. It shut a lot of fans up. So now it goes to show you, I can't predict who's going to be in the squad for Monday, but everybody. I mean, that's one of the things as well from the press conference that the manager was saying to Leeds O2. The training just now, there's a real intensity and there's a high tempo to it just now, and every player, I mean, is dying.
You can see why though, because Scott McDonald made a point in the midweek video. See, when we've been playing 2 games a week, there's been European games, there's been early rounds of the Cup, there's been league games midweek, there's been loads of opportunities for players to get game time. And even, I'm not saying Ange would play someone who isn't training or playing well, but there's more opportunities now. It's just every weekend now. We've only just started March, and Celtic have only got like a maximum of 11 games left this season. It's going to be like basically only weekends from now on. We're not going to have many midweek games. There's not as many opportunities for players, so players must be thinking, I've only got one chance a week to get into this team. I need to be at it every day in training. So I'm not surprised to hear that.
Yeah, and again, I've always said constantly on this channel, after the not having any squad depth before the transfer windows of before, now we do, and competition is just so healthy for the Celtic team, and it's a great position. The manager even said that he's got the easy part of now just picking the team, because he's seen it day in day out in training that the intensity levels are there, and I think that's what he's wanted to see all along. That's been part of his whole plan for this season.
Yeah, right. Team wise, Joe Hart in goals. This is my team, by the way, and you can give me your thoughts in a minute. Joe Hart in goals, back 4 of Ralston, Carter Vickers, Starfelt and Taylor, McGregor, Rogic, Hatate, Forrest, Jota, Maida. I think pretty much the same team as Livingston, with the only change being Hatate in for Beaton. I think McGregor moved back one again. I just think players like Forrest and Ralston, I mean, I know it's a lazy thing to say, but I struggle to see if when they played that well just a week ago. I almost think it's just a case of just let them go again. I know it's harsh on the likes of Juranovic and Giakoumakis and O'Reilly and Abada, but we've got those players coming off the bench.
Juranovic was key against Dundee United in what was one of our best performances though at Tannadice back in December. Now, I know that we're not just thinking about what happened before, the manager doesn't do that, but Juranovic was outstanding in that game, and I think that let the midfield sort of drift into the wide positions, and that's where we got a lot of joy that day.
Brilliant last weekend.
It was though.
And it's a similar kind of game we're going to get. Better pitch, admittedly, but a similar kind of opposition.
Yeah, see, I think that I don't know what to expect with. I mean, I'll talk about Dundee United and what I expect for them later. But with your team, I would generally agree. Although I don't know, I think he's going to persist with Neil Beaton again. I reckon Beaton will be in that midfield. I think roughly it will be the same team as last week, except I wouldn't be surprised to see JJ back in for Ralston and Abada maybe for Forrest again. But again, I mean, when you're talking about the changes there, you're not rolling your eyes and groaning. You're like, okay, good position to be in again. Yeah,
no, I'm delighted. I just think a player like Maida, you just get a feeling sometimes that he's going to suit the game tomorrow. I agree, Giakoumakis has obviously been in brilliant form, and I thought he looked pretty hungry when he came on against Livingston. But I just think Maida, that energy he gives us, could just be what's required tomorrow night. I think it's going to be a really frenetic game. You know, it's a cup tie under the lights. They're going to have, you know, the biggest home support they've had at Tannadice in years probably. So it's going to be, you know, I think it's going to be a tough place for Celtic to go, and I think we're going to need legs in that team because they work hard.
They do, and when I've seen Dundee United already this season at Tannadice, they seem to raise their game there too. Now granted, against us, we were just too good for them, and I think they had a real off day. I think when we played them back in the 5th of December as well, they were going through a real bad run, and that was always going to happen when under the new manager.
It's only recently they got out that run.
Yeah, they did, and they've been a wee bit inconsistent, but generally at Tannadice they've picked up a wee bit since their 2-1 defeat at St Mirren back in January. But against Rangers, certainly what they've excelled at is been playing really narrow. Certainly against Rangers twice, they invited them to just play through the middle, never get any joy out wide apart from when they tired in the last 10 minutes, and that's actually when they get a goal. So I think Jota and whoever it is at a Forrest and Abada will have to be really patient, because I think Dundee United are going to still let us try and go through the middle a lot of the game. They'll play the same way they did against Rangers, but I reckon we can get some joy against them if they go 3-5-2, because I think that's another thing that's weird with Dundee United. Like, they've played all different formations against us this season. The 1-1 draw, they played 4-3-3, they went toe-to-toe.
Yeah, they came for us,
The game we played at Tannadice, 1-3-0, they went 4-5-1, Nicky Clark up front himself. But then here at Celtic Park, that one where they stifled us for the majority of the game, they were 3-5-2, and they were 3-5-2 against Hearts at the weekend, and I think they'll go with that on Monday. But I do think we can get joy against their 3 defenders at the back, who aren't the quickest as well. We play Maeda, he can definitely take advantage of. They've got a mistake in them, certainly that Edwards anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there was big questions whether he'll even play. He went off their game last week against Hearts with a broken nose.
So he did.
As a man who often looks like he's had a few bruises in his time, what are your thoughts on that?
What, John, you're talking about another man's appearance, Hamish? A low blow.
Very low. Charlie Mulgrew, Dylan Levitt, Tony Watt missed that Hearts game completely. The latest is that Mulgrew, Levitt and indeed Edwards should be back. Tony Watt, I think, is the only one who could potentially miss the game tomorrow night, but even then I wouldn't say he's completely ruled out at this stage. They've not won in 4, Dundee United, 3 draws in there. I think a couple of them have been at home to Hearts and Rangers, so hardly disastrous results. They were ahead both of those games until late on in the match, so they could, you could arguably have beaten both Rangers and Hearts, and then we're looking at them very differently. I mean, imagine we're going to Tannadice on Monday after them just beating Rangers and Hearts. I know, they would have been buoyed from that. I think as well, I mean, it's alright for us to say this is a cup game if it's a bit of a cup game, yeah.
It's a bit of, I know that, it's a bit of a reprieve from the league. They'll see that the same way. They could be saying at the same time for them they've been a wee bit under pressure, and they know that obviously they've not been picking up the points and picking up the wins. They'll see the cup game as a bit of a break.
Cup's
for that.
Huge this year.
Massive. And Dundee United have got a very good history.
World Cup year, as I said to John yesterday, 2014 they win the cup. 2010 they win the cup, 2014 finals here, they lose to St Johnstone.
That's right.
Don't know what happened to 2018, but I know it's like a thing that World Cup years they tend to do quite well. I think it's going to be a really tough game, and you're right, the Scottish Cup winner, see, for the non-Glasgow clubs, the Scottish Cup is huge this year. I'm not sure if you're aware, but the cup winner is assured European group stage football next season.
So I did actually know that wee bit of information, thank you.
Because I told you about it. But if Celtic or Rangers win the cup, obviously I hope it's us, then it will go to 3rd place in the league. But you're looking at a massive opportunity for a Dundee United or a Hibs or like a Motherwell, they're still in the cup, to go and win the cup and assure yourself group stage football. I mean, when was the last time another Scottish club played in the group stage? Ever? Has it ever happened in group stage football? So, I mean, I don't expect you to answer that, but it's a huge opportunity for a team like Dundee United. And, I know in any season winning the Scottish Cup's huge, but it's almost a bit like the league for us. It's got something extra on it this year, winning that Scottish Cup, because you've got a massive opportunity, to get into Europe. So we're going to have to watch that.
I'm just thinking here, No, it wasn't group stage, but Aberdeen did get in and knock
They
out
did. No,
Bayern
it
Munich.
was group stage.
Was it group stage? What a guy I am.
The 2008, it was the same year that we were beating AC Milan and all that, and I think they thumped Copenhagen 4-0.
4-0, yeah.
Sorry, there's someone absolutely yelling on the phone. Clearly doesn't know we're YouTube professionals here.
Can he take John Reid anywhere, honestly?
Right, yeah, so... Aye, Peter Pawlett also out for the season for Dundee United, so that's the kind of final bit of team news there. I'm just really looking forward to the game. I mean, almost like the point I was making earlier, there's not as many Celtic games going around. Remember, we're used to having 2 a week. You almost feel a bit lost this week. 8 days it will be by tomorrow night since we saw us against Livingston, and I just really hope, no doubt the fans are going to be up for it. Monday night live on telly. Tannadice is a great visit at the worst of times, never mind a Monday night in the Cup. Hopefully the players are just raring to go. I know it's not the league, but let's get through, let's get a convincing performance, because as much as it's a different competition, the team aren't really going to look at it like that, and Joe Hart didn't seem to be looking at it like that. He was looking at it very much, it's just another match, we get another win, we keep the momentum, the confidence going, and we go into Ross County after that.
Speaking of Joe Hart as well, Joe Hart was also saying that him and the team have practiced penalties. Did you see that as well? In case it goes, because obviously it can go to penalties after extra time in this one. But you said in training this week they have prepared for the possibility of that, which you'd imagine as professionals they would anyway, but it's still good to hear that they are taking it ultra seriously in that respect.
Celtic Dundee United penalties, ring a wee bell there.
Hold on. Oh, the Boric game.
Yeah,
of
incredible.
course.
What was the score in that one? I know you know these things.
No, but we won 11-10.
11-10 in penalties. It was quite like that English League Cup final a couple of weeks ago.
And we were watching that together.
Yeah, sadly. We're kind of talking about cup games in the past with Dundee United. The obvious ones in terms of quarter-finals of the Scottish Cup at Tannadice, there's actually been a few. There was one basically 10 years ago to the day. It was in 2012, obviously. Well done if you worked that one out. And I remember that one being quite a big one at the time. I remember Dundee United pretty much selling out the ground, and we did have the shed that game, and I think we won 4-0 in the end, but it was quite tight for a while. Was it 0-0 at half time? I think Samaras scored a goal.
Stokes scored. That was, of course, in the season when we went on to win the league, when Rangers went into administration. But that was a weird game, because as much as we won 4-0, and the history books will show that, wasn't that convincing. And it was only really in the last 20 minutes that Celtic really upped it. But it was a strange one, that match. It was a really good atmosphere. I was at that game in the shed end, is it, behind the goal. It was a great atmosphere then, and it was just it was like the second half of that season, like from February onwards. Just every game with Celtic was just a joy, and the away games that season were fantastic too. But that was a really good cup game.
2015, would it be 2014-15 season was the year. Now, I think we played them 3 times in a row, but we played them 4 times in total. Was there one game in between one of them?
The trilogy became a quadrilogy, right, and we played them. We played them 3 times in a row in all different venues as well.
I was at the first 2 of them. I was at the cup game, which I think was a Sunday. There was a massive brawl at the start of that game. Van Dijk and Callum Butcher, I think, were sent off.
Callum Butcher? No, Paul Payton. It was Paul Payton.
Callum Butcher, I think, had the bad tackle. I'm sure Callum Butcher had a bad tackle. And then the cup final.
Was he playing in 2015 for Dundee United, Callum Butcher?
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Pretty sure, because he left Dundee. Nobody cares. Let's just move on. Nobody cares about Callum Butcher. If you do care about Callum Butcher, tough luck.
Better halfway Pat Butcher.
The cup final was relatively comfortable. I just remember John Guidetti working me into a massive shoot that day.
Penalty?
Because he came on and he moaned, and then when we won the cup, he just didn't celebrate at all. I think that was shortly after the Inter Milan goal, or maybe just before it. And then the replay, at this stage, I think Dundee United, the cup final, had really, really kind of killed them off. What do you remember about that time?
Yeah, personally, it was tough to manage, because we had Celtic 4 times in a row. As a manager, prepared.
Was it in a row?
Yeah, we didn't play anybody else. Yeah, I mean, it was, we played in the Scottish Cup, then we drew, we went to a replay with the cup final, League Cup final, the following weekend. Then we had a league game and the cup replay in between. So managing that as well was, we just lost GMS and Stuart Armstrong as well just before it. So that was 2 players down for that as well. So it wasn't easy to manage. I thought we'd done well getting a draw in the first game, because it was pretty a feisty game with the sending offs and everything else, and then the cup final as well was a bit frustrating because I thought we'd started okay. I thought we had a chance for a penalty with Ryan Dow.
Yeah.
And one of our players got a bad injury, and while he was getting stitched up, we lost a goal. Sean Dillon, and personally, I should have made a change at that point. The time it taken to get him back, he ended up getting sent off in the second half. So, as a manager, you look at things afterwards, and I would have taken Sean off there and then and put somebody else on.
How did you handle managing against Celtic? Must have been a strange experience, or do you just get used to it?
No, it was strange. It was strange. I always wanted my teams to not just turn up and try and stop. I wanted to try and, because it is an entertainment. I like to see football played in a certain way and to go and attack them. And came across a couple of heavy defeats in that. One of my first one. But we came in, we scored a couple of goals at Celtic Park. We ran them close one a couple of times. But again, it's if you're not going to go and do that and have a go, there's people paying good money to come in and watch the team. Why would you want to just, be happy losing 3-2 or 3-0 and keeping the scoreline down, even though you know that you're up against better opposition? So it was difficult, and I always wanted to try and do well as well.
There is something about these matches. I mean, you've got a couple more down here. There was the game at Hampden. I think it was 4-3 again. That was Jackie McNamara. Extra time, wasn't it? Going further back before I was born. Was there any other?
Yes, there was a real memorable one back in 1998. I'm not going to say what age I was, anyone, okay? But here's a cool bit of trivia. Do you not remember this game? 3-2 at Tannadice?
Well, given that I was 2 years old, no.
Right, okay. But it was a quarter-final game against Dundee United. Bratback opened the scoring. Shell Olafson, who was a real thorn against us, man, every time. He made it 2-1. Morton Weghorst equalised, and then the very last minute, I think it was a guy, Eric Pedersen, scored their own goal. Mad scenes. Celtic went through to the next round of the Cup. The names that I've just given you there, have you got the trivia of that particular game? There you go.
I worked it out. I thought that was strange. I wondered what was happening.
Every player there, a Scandinavian that scored. But that was a real good old-fashioned cup game.
Why is this game not on a Saturday night? I get that the whole thing originally was that Rangers and possibly ourselves were meant to be playing on Thursday night, but the minute we went out to Bodo Glimt, you'd have thought they would have put it on Saturday night.
Hamish, I don't understand what a lot of the high hegians in this country, I don't know what goes through their heads, and I don't know why they couldn't have made it a Saturday.
A better market on a Monday night.
Who knows? But Dundee United's chairman, owner, was fuming about it as well. He wasn't happy. He was actually.
It'll impact their crowd sales.
He was saying as well, it should be catered towards the fans. It would have been good for the local community and for the economy there and everything for the Celtic fans travelling. Yeah. So he was angry about it. Celtic fans were angry about it. But as always, fans aren't thought of first, Hamish, and we just have to deal with that, I guess. Monday it is. Right,
we're going to leave it there. Enjoy the game. We'll have the reaction for you tomorrow night. Stevie, you've been given a night off, so enjoy the game, have a few beers. Hopefully we're celebrating a Celtic victory. The draw will be shortly afterwards as well, so we'll hopefully have that to look forward to if it goes well. And yeah, we're going to leave you for now. Don't forget to give us a wee sub. We're still going for 27,000. Honestly, man, how long have I been doing this for? Carl Starfelt is waiting to score his first Celtic goal. If it's going to happen on Monday, you're going to have to get subbing. Thanks everyone for watching, take care, and hail hail.